Welcome along to RCFC TV. It's great to have you back for the opening game of the SPFL Premiership season. And what a season it looks like it's going to be. The top flight is full of big clubs. And here in Dingwall at the Global Energy Stadium, it's a new era, which we're really excited and in anticipation of the start of the new campaign. And I'm delighted to say, for the opening match of the campaign, we have Chairman Rory MacGregor with us. Thanks for coming along, Roy. It's good to have you here.
Thank you, Rory.
And also, as was our resident pundit last season, Stephen Craigan is also here too. Thanks for joining us, Stephen.
Good afternoon, Rory.
Well, Roy, we've been talking every game last season when you came in before our shows, and we thought, one time he's going to sit in the studio with us, and Roy has joined us. It's wonderful to have you here. Thank you very much. And you must be very excited for the start of this season, a new era for the club to look forward to.
Yeah, Rory. Just can I thank you guys and all your production unit for creating Ross County TV and your efforts last year. It's a privilege that we've been able to bring you back. So I'm excited for you, for Ross County TV, for your whole production staff. And I'm really excited for the club. You know, it's a new journey. It's a new chapter. And just behind me here, seeing both Ross County fans and St Johnstone fans in the ground is just gratifying, and just warms my cockles.
There must have been an awful lot of thought went into the changes that were made over the summer for you.
Yeah, I think these were challenges. We probably have been flirting around the relegation zone for 2 or 3 years. And the cause that particularly the club had of trying to prove that a club from this part of the world can not only play in the Premier League but maintain itself in the Premier League became more difficult. And as you see today, we probably have the most competitive Premier League in the 10 years that I've been involved in it. So, this is not Everest, but it's a mini Everest, and if we're not right behind the scenes and we don't have a long-term vision for where the football is, we could have been in trouble. And so I'm really excited that not only have we brought in a manager, but we brought in someone that hopefully will help us restructure our football department for the next 10 years.
You touched briefly on the supporters there. 2,000 inside the Global Energy Stadium this afternoon. 300 coming up the road from Perth, which it really makes a difference with the atmosphere. But what does the roadmap look like for getting this place as full as possible?
Well, that's great because today you can't go out and buy a pay-as-you-go ticket. It's season ticket holders and St Johnstone fans. So we really need to encourage people. I know there is sort of challenges with, is it safe, the ground? Can I come back and feel that I'm being looked after, particularly for the elderly? And I hope that this is the start of giving people confidence that the club has really pulled out the stops to make people feel that way. And hopefully if we get a positive result from the First Minister next week and most of the restrictions are lifted, people can look forward to be able to come here with a season ticket, or to buy a season ticket and watch it on television if they feel still for a few weeks it's uncomfortable. But I would just encourage people to do that, because as the bigger clubs come here, we will probably not have pay-as-you-go tickets. So can I just encourage people just to, come in now and support us, even though you'll have a few doubts. It's a bit like going down the tunnel on a Saturday. We're in a risk thing with our health, but I think we've done everything we can to make people feel safe coming to the Global Energy Stadium.
I know Stephen's itching to ask you a question.
No, I'm just intrigued about your relationship with Malky.
Yeah.
You know, I know, having worked in football as a player, as a coach, when you bring someone on board, you don't just bring them as an individual, you bring their contacts. You know, Malky's been in the Premier League, the Championship, League One. He's been involved in building up the performance schools in Scotland. So it's not just as a manager on the pitch, Roy, it's everything that he brings, the vast knowledge and contacts.
Yeah, I think that's probably even more important than the managing job. What we were getting in the structure and the thinking, and you know, a club like Ross County have no right to get someone of the pedigree of Malky here. But football doesn't work that way. Sometimes it's about the right time and the right place. And I've tried to bring him here for 7 years. So I was persistent and I wasn't giving up. And he's got connections with his area. His middle name is Dingwall. You know, the family have got big Port Mahomet connections in this area. So I felt if I could get him here and the time was right for him, that it would be a great acquisition for the club. And with that expectation, we're looking forward to the start of a new era.
Malky says he wants 7 more players. How often has he been knocking on your door, and is he going to get them?
No, he hasn't really. You know, again, you know, you can see we let 15 players go, 10 players that came out of contract and 5 loans. So we have a lot of work to do. We've had some of us setback with just having COVID for 10 days, and you know, I think next week we'll have 5 players come in here that have been, if not signed, agreed to come here for a period. So we're just building, and you normally hope that your pre-season, you do your building early and you get a chance in the League Cup to actually refine it. We're in a situation where probably it's going to take us most of August to refine it. We've got some really challenging games, but I would rather have it that way because it will tell us where we are and, you know, are we going in the right direction? So I'm excited. I know the fans as we come here today, mingling in the car park outside, mingling in the local hostilities, you get a feeling that, you know, we've turned a corner, and I hope that's the same for the football club.
Well, Roy, fantastic to speak to you, as always. We promised you we'd only ask you 2 questions and keep you for 4 minutes. I doubled that, at least. So we've had you for about 8. I know you've got lots of important things that you need to do and get round all the hospitality guests and so on. So thank you very much. Of course, the season is already up and running, although it was a bit of a false start for Ross County with the opening 2 games of the Premier Sports Cup that were not being able to be fulfilled. However, the last game against Montrose here last weekend was a rather successful victory. Here's the best of the action. Well, a fantastic result and 4 goals scored, which really acted as, well, the end part of pre-season for Ross County after those 2 initial games meant that they were unable to get out the group. But 2 victories from 2, and now the real action starts. And, got to change, you've replaced the chairman. In the hot seat
pressure.
now, Tom Grivosti has joined us. Thank you very much for joining us, Tom. I mean, first of all, we'd love to see you back out on the pitch. How close is that? How's your recovery coming along?
Really good. Hopefully back in full training by the end of next week, so very close now. I'm really looking forward to getting back training with the boys.
Yep, we're looking forward to seeing you out there. You'll have had a good view of those games against Brora and then Montrose, I guess the game against Elgin as well before the 2 games were postponed. What did you make of how the team is looking?
I thought that the lads done really well in the 3 games. I thought we were good against Elgin, and then obviously the COVID outbreak set us back a bit. In the Brora game, we were still good, and then I felt like we turned the corner in that game, and then in the Montrose game, I thought we were really good again. So I don't think it set us back as much as you think the 10 days off. You think when we're off for 10 days, it could set us back a good few weeks, but the lads look really good last week, and hopefully they can carry that on today.
It's a tough start, wasn't it, with that gap? And also, I suppose you've got the element of players having to recover from that. People often just think that, well, that's 10 days, but a lot of people take a lot longer than that to get back to full fitness.
Well, I think that's why the Dundee game is off. The players were back training, but physically they weren't ready to go and compete against another Premiership side, effectively, who had got through a full pre-season, had played a couple of games and were ready to go. It just wouldn't have been fair physically on them. But today is a complete step up. You know, we can talk about Elgin, we can talk about Brora, and we can talk about Montrose. Today is a different level altogether. This is St Johnstone side who were ever so impressive last season. The intensity goes up, the tempo goes up, your decision making has to be better. And Malky will learn an awful lot more about his players, because he'll have to make decisions under pressure against better players. So it'll be a really good gauge. I mean, today people have to remember it's just a start. Everything won't be based on today. We'll see how today goes and see what plans they have in place and what structure of play they're going to have. We know they're short of numbers, but certainly when the sun comes out here and the pitch is looking magnificent, I can't wait for the game to start.
Well, and it's not too far away. And I know Stephen had the big interview with him in our pre-season show, but Stephen also caught up with the new manager, Malky Mackay, earlier.
Malky, it's the opening day of the league season. How much are you looking forward to it?
Really looking forward to it, Stephen. Obviously, coming into the club in the summer, we had a kind of false start with the COVID situation, and a couple of the League Cup games were obviously forfeited. So great to actually get the league season underway today. Great to get fans in the stadium, and great to get our team playing out here on our pitch.
What are you wanting to see from your players, or more to the point, what are you hoping to see from your players today?
I want to see that they've taken in the messages we gave them over the last 4 or 5 weeks. I want to see attitude, a willingness to want to play together, work hard for the team. It will come from there, but we need to know that we've got to match St Johnstone today. A team who have come in with great form from last season. They're on a high. They'll have a good fan base here today, and it's going to be a really tough game.
So when you say that, you will learn an awful lot about your players today. Step up in level, tempo will be higher, intensity. So that's, you know, as much as the result is important, you'll be looking at them individually.
Yeah, very much so in terms of their mentality. You know, obviously we've stepped up from Brora to Elgin, to Brora, to Montrose, and obviously we're now playing a Premier League team. So yeah, very much so. It's going to be the toughest test we've had so far, and you know, we're under no illusions as to what the task ahead of us is today.
Team news and debuts, you've brought 5 in over the summer. Anything you can give us?
Yep, we've lost Jake Vokins this afternoon, our left back that came in from Southampton with an injury yesterday. So Regan Charles Cook will come in on that side, and Harry Payton has flown back from his time over with Canada in the Gold Cup, and he'll be back in the squad today, which is a really pleasing one.
Squad-wise, I think you've said a few times you're a little bit light on numbers, so can we expect any arrivals in the next week or 10 days?
Yeah, we've got we're hoping to have 3 in on Monday. 3 in on Monday, and maybe a couple at the end of the week. So hopefully next week we should have 4 or 5. So I'm not going to be asking for you to stretch your hamstrings quite yet.
St Johnstone were most people's team of last season. What are you expecting from them today? And I imagine they'll test every facet of your side.
Yeah, very much so. You know, Callum found a shape that worked, and it worked very well. Obviously, fantastic results in the 2 cup finals to do that. They were one of the teams of last year. I think you look at Livingston as well, and you can't discount the job that was done there. But certainly, everyone at St Johnstone will have been delighted with the 2 cup wins, and the fact that at the moment they've got the full squad available again for this season is going to mean that you kind of know what you're getting there.
Malky, all the best today. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, it's always interesting when a new manager comes in for us, and I can imagine for the players as well. What have you seen that Malky brings to this whole football club?
Just his experience at the very top level. I mean, you've just got to have this respect for what he's done in the game, and obviously the lads would have heard off Don in the past, like how good he is, and you just see it in pre-season, even though you're playing lower league teams and stuff like that. The attention to detail that he's got going into games is like really impressive. So I think the lads are really looking forward to working with him this season.
It's a huge job as well, the rebuilding job. When we think about the players that have come in so far, what have you made of the signings that Malky has made? And, well, as we touched on with Roy, those that may still be yet to come in. I think he wants 7 more.
Well, some of them are a little bit unknown, you know, and I think that's the exciting bit, because we don't know what they can bring so far to games. Ross Callaghan is certainly one we know an awful lot about. You know, midfield player, scores goals. Dominic Samuel will complement Jordan White and Ollie Shaw. He spoke about Jake Vokins, who's got an injury. David Cancola is still in isolation, I think, so he will come out. So it's exciting when new players come, but the Scottish market is hard. You know, to attract players up here from the central belt is very difficult. So Malky's had to use his contact list. Stuart Taylor worked with Paul Lambert at Ipswich, Stoke City, and Wolverhampton Wanderers and Aston Villa. So again, you're always looking at who they know and who they can bring in. And the Baron is another one, you know, the performance analyst as well, knows lots of people at lots of clubs. So they've got a huge array of contacts at big clubs and small clubs. They can get character references off people. So they're going to have to try and take a few risks. When you're bringing in the number of players they're looking to bring in, Rory, they're not all going to work. You have to try and do as much research and detail and get as much detail as you possibly can. But I think for the players to come here and see the facilities, feel the atmosphere today, I think it's an exciting place to be.
That must have been a strange one on the final day of last season, and the excitement, Tom, of staying up, but then 15 players were leaving. Replacing that is really, really difficult, and the leadership of some of the players like Ian Vigurs and Michael Garding. Yeah,
definitely. It was a big shock for some of the lads, especially me. I've been here 4 years and I've won the champ with these lads. Like, they've been here the whole time, like Ross Draper, Billy Mackay, guys like this who have Michael Gardine, who are like legends of the club, have done so much for the club, and it was weird to think of the place without them. So coming back in, that's what football is, and people move on and stuff like that. So it's definitely, you think it's going to be weird, but you just get to grips with it straight away, and people step up and replace them characters. So yeah, it was weird to think about it, but it's not as, but think of what used to it now. It's
probably a risk, isn't it? Sorry, just know you're going to move on. It's probably a risk to do it as well. Someone from the outside looking in and thinking, you know, you can't get rid of that experience. What about him? Who's going to lead the dressing room? Who's going to be the leader in there? Well, that's up to these other players. They've got to step up. They've got to show their experience, and they're maturing into players. So is it a risk? Well, it probably is short term, but we'll see longer term whether it works or not.
Well, let's have a look at the team that play this afternoon. Not too many surprises, certainly with the defence. Ross Laidlaw starting in goals. Conor Randall out on the right-hand side with Keith Watson, Alex Iacovitti and Col Donaldson, the centre-backs. And as the manager touched on, Jake Vokins unable to make it. So Regan Charles Cook thrown straight back in from the Gold Cup and he starts. Ross Callaghan, league debut for him since joining, and Blair Spittle also involved in the midfield to get close, along with Jordan Tilson. Jordan White playing up front with new signing Dominic Samuel. What do you make of the first league starting 11?
Because he doesn't have a huge pool to choose from. He's only got himself 3 central defenders. Tom's on his way back, so that makes it 4. Jake Vokins was going to probably play as his left wing back. Conor Randall potentially as his right wing back, or Blair Spittle. So I think once the squad starts to get beefed up, we had spoken in the preview programme about Malky potentially bringing in some wide players. Sometimes you're shoehorned into a shape because what you have available. He will want options as that goes on. You don't want to just stick to a 3-5-2. You maybe want to change to a 3-4-3. You maybe want to go to a 4-3-3. So the players coming in may give him those options, but that's the best of what he has just now. It probably gets the best out of the players that he has. I think Alex Iacovitti and Carl Donaldson and Keith Watson probably suit playing in a back 3. They can complement each other and cover each other well. And if there's one team you want to watch and see how a back 3 works, St Johnstone are the team to watch, because the back 3 they had last year was fantastic. So it's a great challenge, it's a great test, but certainly that team's more than capable of winning the game.
Tom, I know that Blair Spittle has impressed you because you put him in your fantasy team.
Yeah. And he lives with him. So he had to put him in.
Did he put you in?
You put me in as well. Only because I'm cheap though.
But he's had a great start. 2 goals, 2 assists, and from where he was last season, being out in the first half of the campaign on loan at Partick Thistle, to come back in, he played such an important role in keeping the club up, and now he looks to be really kicking on at the start of this season.
He's been really impressive in pre-season, but even from the back end of Christmas when he come back, you could see there was a change in his mentality, really working on himself in the gym and stuff. I think before it was hard for him because you had people like Michael Gardan, massive characters, legends of the club that he had to try and get past, but this pre-season he's been really good, and hopefully he can continue that into the league.
For you, Stephen, a really key player this time round.
He's such a clever footballer. If he's playing the right-hand side of midfield, or he's playing as a centre midfield player, he doesn't stand still, Rory. He's on the move, he's trying to make things happen. I think he's a very difficult player to pick up because he can see spaces, he can see gaps. He doesn't always get the ball because maybe the other players can't find him in the gaps, but he's versatile. And if you're a team who are going to run with a small squad and are going to need to change your shape and change your personnel in game, he's the type of player that can do that. But we had glimpses last season towards the end when his form was terrific. The goal he scored here against Hamilton, his assist for Jordan White up at Tannadice was great. He's already got the goal here against Montreux. So everything about him I really, really like, and I could never understand why he wasn't in the team or why he wasn't in and around the club. But the challenge is laid down to him now. The gauntlet is there. You've done it for 4 or 5 games last season. You've got to go and do it this season again and again. 25 years of age. Now, I don't want to be disrespectful to Ross County, I'm not. But he's got another big move in him because he's got so much ability and so much talent. And Malky will know that. So it'll be interesting to see if he starts the season well. Is there a wee contract slip to him to say, listen, we want to extend your stay? Because Ross County were a much better team towards the end of the season when he was in it.
Of the new signings, Ross Callaghan, the one that you're really looking forward to seeing?
Because he's different than any of the midfield players that were here last year. One, because he gets goals, but he runs without the ball. A lot of midfield players only want to take part in the game when they've got the ball at their feet, but he wants to run beyond defenders, which attracts defenders to him. It stretches them deep. It creates gaps for the likes of Blair Spittle and Jordan White and Dominic Samuel, hopefully to get into. So just because he doesn't have the ball at his feet, he doesn't stand and admire the game. He's probably an old-fashioned midfield player. They call it a third-man run when he stretches and runs in behind. He's got goals in his locker, and he's got a real dynamism about him. I look at that midfield trio of Blair Spittle, Jordan Tilson and Callaghan, and that's what they've got. They're dynamic, Rory. They can get up and down the pitch, box to box, and we'll need that against the strong St Johnstone team.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for now. We'll take a short break. Kick-off is, well, it's around about 10 minutes away, and we're really looking forward to the opening game of the Premiership season. It's time to come home. After over a year, we look forward to having you back here with us as we embark on the latest chapter in the club's journey. You can get behind the Staggies and order your season ticket today online at rosscountyfootballclub.co.uk. Well, St Johnstone, what a season, Tom, they had. They must be the team now that everyone else, bar the old firm, look to and think, that could be us.
I mean, what a season they had last season, like probably the best season in their history, and rightly so. But you've just got to look at the others. They struggled at the start a little bit, but they stuck to what they believed in, what the manager believed in, and they reaped the rewards towards the end. Like, they were in unbelievable form, and bringing the new manager in, we have got to hope that we can build something like they have last season.
Yeah, it was an incredible start for Callum Davidson. I was looking back at the end of last season, I think we discussed it, and I struggled to think of a greater domestic achievement in Scottish football.
Just because of the size of the club as well, and the finances. And it's almost been brushed over about what they've done because they don't carry a lot of press. Could you imagine an Aberdeen or a Hibs or even Celtic last season had won 2 domestic cups? You know, they would still be talking about it. But it's as if it's been washed over and people forgot about it already. The biggest disappointment was these guys couldn't get in. The fans couldn't get to see, as Tom said, one of the most memorable seasons in their history. So they're going to have to go and do it all again. You know, but there's so many things I like about the team, the setup, the structure, the discipline, everything you would want in a lower end Premiership team. How you compete and how you can challenge with the rest. They had everything. They were quite prepared to do the hard yards, do the ugly side of the game, and they got their rewards. And as the season went on, they just get better and better.
They're a very settled side as well, aren't they? You can almost name the starting 11. I think the only new one in there this afternoon is Rhys Devine at left back.
Yes, and you know, we touched earlier about the back three, and we spoke about Sean Rooney and Ali McCann and Murray Davidson in midfield. It just works, Rory. There's so much synergy within that group of players that Callum puts them on the pitch, and he knows more often than not what he's going to get from them. And that's real comfort as a manager, but that comes from your work on the training pitch. And Tom touched on it, you know, because Callum has that setup and that system, and he knows it's going to work. That's where Malky McCarry will want to get to. He'll want to get to the stage where I put the players on the pitch and know what's going to happen, barring maybe 1 or 2 players if they're having an off day. And that's really comforting, it's exciting, and I think that's where Malky will want to get the squad to, not wanting to be St Johnstone, but wanting to kind of replicate how they played and how the players know the rules.
Well, great stuff, gentlemen. Thank you very much, especially to you, Tom, for all your efforts today. We are very much looking forward to kick-off. It is only a few minutes away, and we will be opening the season with Ross County against St Johnstone. We hope you can join us then.
Oil and gas, power generation, and heavy industry all rely on the safe and continuous operation of their high voltage networks. The demand on these industries is continuously increasing, and the need for an electrical supply without interruption is critical. Contact us today to find out how we can provide 24/7 PD monitoring solutions for you.
When I hold the card, I'm standing with my family.
When I hold the card, I'm standing with my teammates.
When I hold the card, I'm standing with my neighbours.
When I hold the card, I stand with my brothers and sisters.
We're standing with everyone who's had to endure racial prejudice in their lives.
Racism comes in many forms, some clear, some more subtle.
It affects not just the victim, but friends, families, and entire communities.
No one is born with it, and tolerance is taught, but it can be untaught.
To bring about change, we can't be afraid to take the first step. We fail when we fail to try.
We are supporting Show Racism the Red Card, our education charity.
Now more than ever, they need your support to give our future generation the tools to challenge prejudice, hatred and discrimination.
It's not enough to be not racist, we all must be anti-racist. Education is the key.
Founded in 2006, with headquarters in the UK and locations around the world, we have developed cutting-edge PD monitoring and testing technology to ensure your high-voltage networks are safe and reliable, avoiding dangerous and costly unplanned outages. Contact us today to find out how we can provide 24/7 PD monitoring solutions for you.
As a family-owned business, Norscot understand the need for stability, security and comfort. That's why every timber frame kit we supply is built with these in mind. Providing great design flexibility, our homes are entirely customisable to your needs. And with a wide range of adaptable set and bespoke designs on offer, your budget is not a limitation. To find out more, email info@norscot.co.uk. Norscot, proudly serving customers throughout the UK since 1984.
Play your part in producing tomorrow's stars of the Staggies with an Academy Player Sponsorship package for season 2020-21. First Team future success relies on your support to nurture players like current number 43, Josh Reid. For more information on how you can assist the Football Academy in developing the next generation of Ross County, contact gordon.duff@rosscountyfootballclub.co.uk today.
Sometimes you have to search far and wide for the answer. But for creative video production, the answer's on your doorstep. DP Digital Media, the other top team in the Highlands.